Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. 28 civilians, including women and children, were killed Wednesday in Russian airstrikes in Syria, according to claims by an opposition monitoring group. The airstrikes, which are Russia's first military action outside the former Soviet Union since the occupation of Afghanistan in 1979, appears to be the start of a long-haul commitment by the Kremlin to strengthen the regime of President Bashar Al-Assad. VOA Pentagon correspondent Carla Babb has more.
The Russian Defense Ministry has released this video it claims is of airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Syria. Flood rights groups say Russian strikes killed at least 30 civilians near the cities of Homs and Hama, which are controlled not by the Islamic State, but by the Syrian moderate opposition. Secretary of Defense Ash Carter says the Russian position is contradictory.
This kind of action by the Russians is ill-advised and will backfire.
Russia maintains Wednesday's strikes hit Islamic State military equipment, command post, and vehicles.
Everything was said by the Russian Ministry of Defense. Don't listen to Pentagon about the Russian strikes.
Discord between Russia and the U.S. started before the strikes began. According to a U.S. official, a Russian general walked into the U.S. embassy in Baghdad, said strikes in Syria would start, and then requested the U.S. remain clear of Syrian airspace.
This is not the kind of behavior that we should expect professionally from the Russian military.
But Republican critics say this behavior is to be expected, considering President Obama's strategy in the region.
This administration has confused our friends, encouraged our enemies, mistaken an excess of caution for prudence, and replaced the risks of action with the perils of inaction. Into the wreckage of this administration's Middle East policy has now stepped Vladimir Putin.
Analysts say Russia's actions may push coalition nations like Turkey or Saudi Arabia to try to neutralize what they see as an attempt to strengthen Syrian President Bashar Al-Assad.
You may see these countries step up their own efforts on behalf of their preferred players in Syria in order to counteract what the Russians are doing.
The Pentagon says the coalition will continue anti-Islamic State airstrikes unimpeded in both Iraq and Syria. Carla Babb, VOA News, The Pentagon.